You're listening to The D.I.V.E. Show, the place where dreamers, innovators, visionaries, and entrepreneurs gather to inspire the diver in you. Let's dive in.
What's up, everybody? This is Markevius. I'm so excited. I need to let me calm down. Let me just calm down. I'm excited because this is my very first episode of the D.I.V.E. Show. And this episode is brought to you by the Cosmetology Institute of Las Vegas. And they're located at 3249 West Craig Road at Suite 100 in North Las Vegas. Now, I know you're wondering, what is D.I.V.E. Radio? And I just want to explain to you why I created this platform. I created this because I wanted to inspire, encourage, and motivate people like you and I, dreamers, innovators, visionaries, and entrepreneurs. Finally, we have a creative space to share information, to share ideas. This will reflect in everything that we do here at the D.I.V.E. Show. It will reflect in the interviews, and the hot topics, and the discussions, even in the music that we play. So listen, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for tuning in to the D.I.V.E. Show. Let's go.
Hey, this is Danny Ross, and this is my single, Thankful, debuting on the D.I.V.E. Show. Please follow me on social media at Instagram, Danny Songbird, Twitter, Danny Songbird, and Facebook, Danny Songbird Ross. I really hope you like it. Gosh. Life, my healthy baby, my family, a roof over my head. I'm thankful for the air I breathe, thankful for a place to sleep. I'm thankful for my health and strength and your consistent love for me. I'm thankful for my family, my son is healthy as can be. I just don't have enough time to tell what you've done for me.
purpose of the D.I.V.E. show is to encourage generations and individuals to reach their highest potential and dreams. Our goal is to acknowledge individuals, groups, and organizations who through their work help and inspire their families and communities.
I want to introduce y'all to someone I practically known my whole life. I'm so proud and honored to call this guy my friend. This is celebrity portrait artist Carl Hess. He's painted for Joel Osteen, Barack Obama, Bishop T.D. Jakes, Cicely Tyson, Maya Angelou, Spike Lee. I mean, I'm just name dropping. I'm just naming a few of the people this guy have had the opportunity to work with. But I don't have to name drop anymore. I just want to bring on and introduce y'all to my boy, Carl Hess. Carl, what's happening, man?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. I want to say thank you so much for coming on the D.I.V.E. show, brother. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm extremely excited, man, to be a part of such a new and innovative radio show, man. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, sir. You the first one, man. You the first guest, so you setting the standard. You setting the bar for all the other guests that I have. Man.
Pressure. Pressure.
So just tell us, man, who inspired you? Where you get your start in this whole industry?
As far as inspiration, my inspiration necessarily was not from art, was not from the fine arts.
Wow.
Man, honestly, my inspiration was from my mom, from cleaning floors in high school to being a janitor and her eventually owning the company. Man, I saw how she was able to take something so little as far as the I guess the entrepreneur set, or even just the work world, domestic work world. And man, she took that and turned it into a business where she made six figures. Man, when I saw that, I said, man, what do I have? And what I realized was I have a gift of art. I have a gift of painting. And how do I take this thing and where I can touch my six figures? So, man, really my inspiration was not an artist. It was not a painter, not a famous world-renowned portrait artist as I am, man. It was really just the hustlers that I saw in Memphis. Those people who were struggling, took what they had, man, and turned it around and made something amazing out of it.
Man, you've painted for so many people. Cicely Tyson, Maya Angelou, Spike Lee, Bishop T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, and so many more. So, I mean, these are celebrities. These are prestige people. Do you have the official presidential picture in the White House for President Barack Obama?
I do not yet. So, long story short, my first time I met President Obama, man, and this is it's a funny story. I'm honestly quite embarrassed to tell it. I make sure I have to tell it though, man. It's a part of my testimony. Man, first time I met President Obama, man, I stood out in the rain, had a painting I did of him. Right, we're in Virginia. He's doing a rally. This is pre-presidential Barack Obama. So I'm standing in the rain and I'm trying to get inside of this arena to present this portrait to him. However, I'm having some trouble at the door. Secret Service won't let me in. After convincing through a colleague that actually went down with me, I was able to get inside the arena. And when I met him and gave him a portrait, I told him off the top, I said, hey, Mr. Barack, I'm going to be your official portrait artist. Now, at the time, he's signing a cast of a lady next to me. Man, he stopped, literally looked at me, rolled his eyes, and looked back down, signing the cast. Now, let me give you a visual of what that looked like. Young black male, I'm suited up. President suited up, young white lady, older white lady, actually, with a cast next to me. He's signing. He stops, look at me in disgust or unbelief, looks back down, doesn't answer my question, and leaves. Previously, of course, we spoke, shook hands. He thanked me for the painting. So it wasn't a sense of disrespect. It was a reality check for me. Man, it made me tougher. It made me much more appreciative of the understanding of perfecting my gift. Man, he humbled me that day, brother. When I tell you, I was actually disappointed for about 2 months.
That's really humbling, man.
It is, man. So, you know what, though? It lit a fire under me. Man, I start going crazy at the house, man. I'm painting. I'm making sure I'm preparing myself. Because the truth of the matter is, he was right. Man, when I look back at that first portrait, dude, my quality was nowhere near where I am now, right? I wasn't near as great as an artist as I thought. And I'm sure same thing for you, right? I'm sure, man, back in high school, you probably did a couple of talent shows, did a couple of singing engagements. And when you listen back, you say, man, I didn't understand the tones. I didn't understand pitches as I do now. Yeah. And man, it was an opportunity for me to learn about myself and learn where I was. So fast forward, after meeting him a second time in Ohio and having him assign a painting for me, I started to then seek after the opportunity of doing the official portrait. So what I did, man, I got in with the White House. I literally called the White House every day.
Wait, you called the White House?
No. Every day, got on Google. I got that number. And of course, our generation, man, young entrepreneurs, I'll tell you like this, man, my biggest advice is to tell young people that we are in the situation that people 20 years ahead of us, our parents, they couldn't do this. They couldn't call the White House. They couldn't call the NBA office. They couldn't call the Tony Awards, right? We literally have the capability of getting on Google and getting any number in the world, man. And that's what I did. Man, I Googled White House telephone numbers, sent me to the switchboard. I called every day, brother, maybe for about a month. Wow. Luckily, I was able to get in that door. I had a person that knew somebody in the White House, eventually called and asked for a name. God set it up, man, where I was able to be one of the few to be considered for his official portrait. So we're still waiting. I did follow up with the White House a week ago. Man, they're going to sit down and they're going to look through portfolios of artists in the country, possibly around the world, that will be candidates for them to have their official 2 large portraits painted. So, man, just to be in that realm of elite artists, we're talking artists, man, that have painted governors, mayors, kings, queens, literally around the world. So I'm being considered right now. More than likely, I'm sure I'm the youngest. All of my competition, if you can imagine, man, we're talking more than likely old white men, white women that have painted professionally for years. So me being that young black male, most importantly, not using my race or my age, my talent, making sure that my talent can compare and compete with my predecessors as well as any competitor that possibly will be in that White House, man. So that's where I'm at right now, just waiting to hear back, waiting to get that thumbs up from President Obama. And, you know, if it doesn't happen, you know, I'm not going to stop, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you still genuinely enjoy painting portraits of people? Do you still genuinely enjoy it? Is it getting old to you? Are you like, okay, man, I want to kind of free myself because I have other gifts and talents and like, are you still enjoying it?
And I think just like any professional in their field, you have to refresh yourself, right? You have to take on new opportunities, new challenges. So I love to challenge myself. And now I've stepped into the sports world. So that's a huge challenge for me because I haven't really broken into it as I have with pastors. And, man, there's so many other avenues of portrait painting. And it's really up to me to make sure, man, I continue to stay hungry. So once I do that President Barack Obama's piece, I can't stop right there, right? I have to make sure not only am I doing politicians, maybe I need to do professional singers or the Olympics, right? So to answer your question, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Throughout my summers, right, when I'm stuck in my studio and I'm painting, I always need new motivation. Instagram is great to go through and look at other portrait artists, right? For me to get that motivation, get my competitive drive back up and realize that there's so much more to obtain. However, I try not to allow myself when I get down or when I get tired of using my gift, man, I have to just remember why I'm doing it, why God placed it in me. It may be somebody bigger or somebody younger than me that needs me to show them opportunities of how to take their gift to the next level.
Wow. So when you're giving somebody one of your portraits, what do you think it does for people to see themselves as a painting? Like, what do you think it does psychologically or emotionally or even spiritually? Or are you purposely trying to create something for that person to feel those emotions?
You know what? I think any performer, and just thinking from a performer's perspective, any performer, I think their most joyous moment is when they see tears in the eyes of their audience, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I've seen you do some amazing things in your performances via social media. And man, when you touch your audience and when they feel you, right, and you pull those tears, you know that you're doing your job.
That's deep. So you feel you're doing portraits that's spiritual.
Absolutely. And like I said, consider, let's say President George Washington, right? When I go to that White House and I walk past that George Washington painting, and some of my friends have been, plenty of us who've listened to this podcast have actually seen portraits, if not portraits of that manner. When you walk past a large portrait, you almost feel like that person is literally going to come off the wall, right? Yeah. You almost feel like you can feel that person's presence. And that's what I really feel like God has given me, man, the opportunity to bring life when life is not present.
Wow. That's deep, man.
Yeah.
What was the experience like painting for Cicely Tyson and Maya Angelou and Spike Lee? You know what?
These great people. They were just a part of a bigger plan, a great faith move, man. With Spike Lee, him being at my school, University of Tennessee, it was just a great opportunity for me to honor him through my school. And Maya Angelou, man, that was a tough one because Maya Angelou and I and her assistant, we've been working together for over a year on her painting, getting the perfect picture, the perfect position, perfect setup. And as we were meeting or setting up our meeting, she actually passed away. So it was very tough for her assistant. However, her assistant handled the situation very gracefully, in which I still wanted to bless her with the painting. So I sent it over, and it was a part of her estate. But Cicely Tyson, that was a great experience as well. That piece there is currently still in the works. Cicely Tyson has a school in New Jersey. So this painting here is actually for her school. Her and I, we've talked numerous times on the phone as far as setting up our schedule, retouching up the painting. And you know what, man? This is what I realized as well working with a Cicely Tyson. My quality of work, it must be on point, right? Even after 12 years. And truth of the matter is, we get lax, right? When you've done something for multiple years, you got these accolades, we all get kind of relaxed and feel that confidence that I spoke about earlier. And with Miss Cicely Tyson, she wanted to assure that her image was represented properly. So the great thing about that, first, it showed me that my gift was necessary, because years after that she's gone, she wants this image to properly represent her in her school. And secondly, it showed me that, hey, make sure that I'm treating every client to the highest respect. Just as if I was doing the President Barack Obama's painting. So in that piece, we're currently doing a revision right now with Cicely Tyson, her portrait, and I'll be sending that over to her soon as well. But she's a lovely, lovely lady, man. Gave me some great advice on President Barack Obama's painting, and that's some advice that I, even to this day, I assure to remind myself of it occasionally.
So recently you painted a picture for the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones. How was that experience?
Moving to Dallas, man, it was a very easy choice to become a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. Man, this opportunity, I'd say, being that it's the biggest brand, sports brand in the country, it is a phenomenal opportunity to work with the Dallas Cowboys. Over the last few months, I would say this year entirely, having to work on a second painting with them, it's really been rewarding, and man, I look forward to seeing what the next level is. So currently, the painting that I did, you may be able to see on my website if you visit. The painting I did, it was a piece kind of commemorating Jerry Jones' induction into the Hall of Fame. Being the owner of a team, it was a really big deal for an owner, and a very outspoken owner, to become a Hall of Fame candidate. And I wanted to make sure that I gave the Cowboys an exclusive one-of-a-kind piece that they can commemorate and cherish, and most of all, remember his family that got him there. So that's where we're at right now, continuing to finish up that piece and cutting the deal with the Cowboys as we speak.
If you can describe yourself in one word, what would that be?
Man, you know what? That one word would be hungry. I stay hungry. I wake up. I'm always thinking, what's that next move? What's that next opportunity? How do I go further? How do I create a better future with this gift? Man, my hunger, it is unbelievable. Every day I'm looking for that next opportunity. Even when I just left a presentation, I just left something that can give me likes on Instagram, give me kudos with my people on Facebook, I'm already looking for that next opportunity, man, not even thinking about the accolades, but thinking about the next meal. So hungry is what I try to stay.
Do you have any regrets?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can you give us a couple? One, two?
Man, a huge regret that I have. This is just one of many. T.D. Jakes. Man, in 2008, after I finished President Obama's piece, I did a piece for T.D. Jakes, right? I flew up here to Dallas. Jakes and his team, his administrators at his church, man, they treated me with absolute respect, like royalty, came to the church. Put the portrait backstage before the sermon, sat front row, listened to a service, and after the sermon, immediately we went straight to a back room. My sister and I were back there, and Jakes came in, and man, he just thanked me so much for the painting. We talked a little bit, right? He acknowledged and just gave me my due respect, and we parted ways. So being that I just finished this President Obama second piece and I was knowledgeable of the presidential portrait, I figured, man, one way that can help me to assure that President Obama chooses me was basically to get recommendation letters. And this definitely was very helpful. However, this was at the beginning of my pursuing of the presidential portrait. So what I did, man, I'm shamefully going to tell the truth on this, man. I pressed Jakes. So what I would do, I would reach out to his secretary on a weekly basis saying, hey, I'm looking for a presidential recommendation letter to the president, and I would love for Jakes to send this letter on my behalf. Very beautiful woman, very nice woman, man. And what she would do, she would basically check with Jakes and let me know, according to his schedule, according to his signings, things that he had, if this would be available. Months went by. 6 months went by. A year went by. And me checking in occasionally, give or take about every month or so, her keeping a lovely attitude about the whole thing, man. And really, she was very much on my side, his assistance, that is. However, man, my patience had gotten short. At this point, I sent the email and I said it was very rude, something to the extent of not receiving his support after I did 2 portraits. I later did a portrait of his granddaughter, and how I felt that at this point, a year later, he should have at least responded with a yes or no. Didn't hear anything back, right?
Yeah.
A couple months go by.
That's pretty ballsy, man.
Yeah, I had the balls, man. Man, a couple months go by, and something in my spirit, man, I don't know what it was. I started to Google T.D. Jakes' painting. And sure enough, he presented a huge 6-foot painting. If you Google, you'll be able to see it online. I mean, he presented a huge 6-foot painting to his wife, I believe as a birthday or anniversary gift. Now, a painting of that caliber in a professional world, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. And I really felt, I had no idea why I looked that up, but I really felt God, man, gave me an opportunity to sing what an impatient soul will reap, and that's a passing by. So, man, when I look back at that situation, I didn't handle it in a professional manner. Secondly, the most important thing, the portrait was crap. Now, we're talking 2008 going on, 9 years ago, man. I'm not going to lie. that portrait, when I look back at it, it was nowhere near the quality of paintings I can do now. Wow. It didn't at all resemble him as far as a realistic standpoint, his characters, his features. The portrait was very amateur-like. So when I look at that portrait now from 2008, I totally understand why I did not receive a recommendation letter. It's just simple as that. The portrait wasn't good. However, not only did I disobey, man, what I was taught as far as being respectful, I went against just simply my own standards, right? Being respectful, being patient, being kind, man. So that is the most regretful thing that I think I've had in my career. In addition to other stories, a couple of stories like that. But man, those are the lessons that I've learned. And I really, unfortunately, have paid for over the years.
So tell me, what advice would you give to up-and-coming artists or aspiring artists in this industry?
Well, man, you know what? First thing first, make sure that you're getting yourself out there. Utilize the free social media. Even to this day, myself, I have to up my social media. I have to make sure I'm hiring people to be my representation when I can't physically get on my phone, right? Mm-hmm. Second thing, make sure that your quality of work is of standards. Make sure you're doing your research, man. Make sure that you put in the time to assure that you are worth the dollar. So my main advice is to prepare yourself. And secondly, utilize your resources, free resources, social media.
Man, I appreciate you for talking to us, man, inspiring and encouraging people, not just people who are into portraits, but entrepreneurs, innovators, visionaries, dreamers in general. And that's what you are. To me, that's what you are, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, boss. Thank you. Man, it was a pleasure, man. I'm always loving just to be able to talk and share my story, my testimony, man, and be honest and allow people to see that transparency, man, because not often people, we like to be opaque. We like to appear that everything is 100, but man, every day it's a hustle, right? Every day it is a grind. And even my most successful friends, man, that we see on Instagram that are even financially successful, it is still a hustle and a grind to even maintain what you've achieved. So, man, thank you so much for even allowing me, man, to come on here and just to share my story.
Man,
and
you said yes. You said yes, brother.
There we go.
So can you tell us how we can contact you? How can we connect with you? Social media, all those things.
Absolutely. On Instagram, Carl Hess Art. On Facebook, Carl Hess Art as well, man. And my website, carlhess.com. CarlHess.com.
Carl, man, I appreciate you once again for coming on the D.I.V.E show, brother.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really enjoyed it. Thank you again for having me, man. God bless you as well, man. I can't wait to hear your next album, baby.
If you would like to be a guest or debut your music on The D.I.V.E show, please email us at diveradioshow@gmail.com.
This morning, I came across a really cool quote by Steve Jobs, and it says, "The only way to truly be satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you will know when you find it."
You've been listening to The D.I.V.E show, the place where dreamers, innovators, visionaries, and entrepreneurs gather to inspire the diver in you.
Look, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out and listening to the very first episode of the D.I.V.E show. Please visit our website at diveradioshow.com. Also, you can send us an email at diveradioshow@gmail.com and on all social media platforms.